Have you ever thought about how a single good morning message could change the entire course of someone's day? Most people see it as nothing more than a polite routine, a formality, words typed out half-heartedly while rushing through breakfast or commuting to work. But what if I told you that this little ritual is one of the most underestimated gateways into a man's heart? That with the right words, chosen carefully and breathed with subtle intention, you can slip into his thoughts before he even fully opens his eyes and stay there, like a shadow, like a fragrance, like a question he cannot shake. Because the truth is, a morning message is never just text. It can either be the spark that lights his inner world, or the quiet signal that he has no reason to think of you at all. Most women don't realize the power of this space. They say the same polite lines. Good morning. Hope you slept well. Have a nice day. Sweet? Yes. But powerful? Not at all. These messages fall flat because they don't awaken anything within him. They're like air. Transparent, weightless, unnoticed. They don't stir his curiosity. Don't make his pulse shift. Don't create a story in his mind. They're safe. But safe is forgettable. And a forgettable woman will never live rent-free in his imagination. Carl Jung once said that words are not just letters. They are living symbols, keys that unlock doors hidden in the unconscious. When you understand that, you stop writing like everyone else. You realize that every word you send carries weight. It can either pass through him like dust or lodge itself in his chest like a heartbeat he didn't expect. That is the difference between being scrolled past and being remembered. Think about this. Have you ever sent a message with excitement bubbling in your chest, only to wait in silence? No reply, not even a quick acknowledgement. And the silence stung, not because he didn't have time, but because your words didn't touch him enough to matter. That silence is not always about him. Sometimes it's about the message itself. Generic texts are emotional dead ends. They give him nothing to feel, nothing to chase, nothing to imagine. And imagination is the birthplace of desire. You see, a man is not captivated by obligation. He is captivated by the worlds you invite him into. That's why the most magnetic women are not the ones who text the most or flatter the most, but the ones who understand that desire is built on mystery, curiosity, playfulness, and emotional depth. The ones who don't just greet him, but awaken something in him. Have you ever had a stranger greet you with the usual, "Hey, how are you?" Did it leave any mark on you? Probably not, because it's predictable. Predictable is the enemy of attraction. And yet, so many women start their mornings this way. Predictable, polite, and powerless. Worse still, some give everything away too soon. Messages dripping with neediness. Good morning, handsome. I hope I'm not bothering you. I just wanted to say hi. On the surface, it sounds sweet, but underneath, the message screams, I am already giving you all of my attention without you earning a single piece of it. And when you give everything before he even leans in, you strip away the tension, the challenge, the intrigue that fuels his hunger to pursue you. Jung often spoke about how we unconsciously project our needs onto others. The tragedy is that when you project too much too soon, instead of pulling him close, you push him away, because your energy says, I am already waiting for you. And if he feels no reason to lean in, why would he? So let me give you a truth that most never say out loud. The words you choose in the morning can shape the way he sees you for the entire day. The right message doesn't just greet him, it makes him stop. It makes him pause. It makes him think of you, even in moments when he doesn't want to. And if you learn how to play with curiosity, with subtle tension, with emotional sparks, you can weave yourself into his unconscious without him even realizing it. Imagine sending him a message like this: "You won't believe what I dreamt about you last night." Now pause. Feel the difference in your own body as you read it. Can you sense how curiosity awakens? How the mind starts racing to fill the blank spaces? Was it romantic? Funny? Intense? The human brain is wired to hate incomplete stories. It craves resolution. By giving him only a piece of the puzzle, you force him to think of you until he gets the rest. That's the magic of mystery. Jung believed that what remains hidden becomes symbolic, and symbols live longer in our unconscious than facts ever do. And here's where your power sharpens. Don't rush to reveal the dream when he asks. Hold back. Say something like, "It was too interesting to explain over text. Want to guess what it was?" Do you see what's happening here? You've transformed a simple message into an emotional game, a dance of curiosity and imagination. He may not remember the exact words, but he will remember the tension you created, the anticipation you stirred. That is what lingers. That is what makes you unforgettable. But mystery isn't the only path. If you want to etch yourself deeper into his heart, you must also learn to touch what many are too afraid to reach, his emotions. Because here is another hard truth. If you don't touch his emotions, you're nothing more than another name in his inbox. Conversations that never move beyond the surface are like ripples that vanish as quickly as they form. They leave nothing behind. And yet, when you dare to step beyond the shallow words, when you invite him to open the locked doors of his inner world, you create a connection that outlives the noise. Jung once said that repressed emotions don't disappear. They simply wait, hidden, until someone awakens them. And a woman who knows how to awaken a man's deeper emotions doesn't have to beg for his attention. She becomes the attention. So instead of saying, "Good morning, hope you have a nice day," try this. "Good morning. I hope today brings you closer to your biggest dream. Tell me, what is it that you're chasing right now?" Do you feel the difference? That one message slices through the small talk. It invites him to share his vision, his hunger, his soul. And once a man feels that you see the fire inside him, that you care about what drives him, not just the shell of him, but the dream that keeps him alive, you are no longer just another woman. You become rare. And rarity is irresistible. When a man opens up about his dreams, something powerful happens. You step into the inner room, where most people never gain entry. But here is the secret that separates a fleeting connection from a lasting imprint. Don't just listen. Feel with him. When he shares that dream, resist the urge to minimize it or brush it off as wishful thinking. Instead, hold it like it matters. Celebrate it. Say something like, "That's incredible. What made you fall in love with that idea?" In that moment, you aren't just texting. You are feeding his soul. You are giving him a rare gift, the sense that someone truly sees him. And when a man feels seen, he doesn't forget the one who gave him that vision of himself. But touching his heart is only the beginning. The next layer of magnetic connection is to spark his imagination. Have you ever had a conversation that replayed in your mind days later? The kind where you find yourself smiling at random moments, caught in the memory of a single phrase, a single image. That's because words don't just communicate, they build worlds. And if you can lead him into a world he wants to live in with you, then you become more than just a person. You become a landscape in his mind. Jung believed that imagination is the bridge to the unconscious. It is where desires are born. And a simple morning message has the power to activate that bridge. Imagine sending him this: "Good morning. If you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be?" At first glance, it seems casual. But what you're really doing is pulling him out of the monotony of his morning into a world of fantasy. He may picture himself on a quiet beach, or wandering through a city he has always dreamed of visiting, or on an adventure he never thought he'd confess. And in that mental picture, there you are, because you're the one who opened the door. That is where desire grows, in the space where you invite him to imagine. And here's how to make it even more powerful. When he answers, don't let the conversation end with his reply. Expand it. If he says Paris, don't just respond with, "That sounds amazing." Say something that breathes life into his vision. I can see you strolling through Montmartre with a coffee in hand, taking it all in. Do you love French culture? By painting the picture with him, you become part of the dream. And once a feeling is tied to you, it becomes unforgettable. There is a golden rule of attraction that too many overlook. What you help him imagine, he will begin to associate with you. And those emotional imprints are stronger than any compliment, stronger than any selfie, stronger than 100 good mornings that sound like everyone else's. Now let's go deeper. If curiosity is the spark and imagination is the bridge, then intrigue is the fire that keeps him restless for more. Curiosity, once awakened, refuses to sit quietly. Think about the last time someone told you, "We need to talk," but didn't explain. Your mind raced, didn't it? You couldn't focus until you got the answer. That same principle applies to attraction. A well-crafted message that holds something back is like a melody without its final note. It leaves him aching for closure. Try this. Good morning. I just remembered something that made me see you differently. Do you feel it? That sudden pull? That whisper of mystery? He cannot help but wonder. What was it? Was it good? Was it surprising? Has something about him shifted in your eyes? That suspense is not frustration. It is fuel. Jung said that what remains hidden becomes symbolic. And in relationships, symbolism is often more powerful than clarity. Here's how you play this well. Don't rush to reveal the answer when he asks. Instead, tease the tension. I'm not going to tell you just yet, but trust me, you'll want to know. That's anticipation. And anticipation is addictive. It keeps him waiting, imagining, replaying your words in his head. Every moment of silence becomes charged, not empty. You're not just sending a text. You're creating an open loop in his mind, a door left ajar that he cannot resist wanting to push. And if you want to intensify that pull, add a touch of personal connection. Something incredible happened last night, and it made me think of you. I'll tell you later. Do you see what you've done here? You've tied him to a moment of significance without telling him why. His mind now races with possibilities. Was it a coincidence? Was it something intimate, something funny, something unforgettable? He won't know. But he will want to. And until he does, you will linger like a question in the back of his mind. The reason this works is simple. Human beings cannot resist unfinished stories. It's called the open loop effect. Our brains ache to complete what has been left unresolved. And until he gets that answer, you become the story he cannot stop thinking about. But not all magic lives in the future. Sometimes the strongest pull comes from the past. Nostalgia, when touched gently, holds extraordinary power. Think about a song that instantly transported you back to a moment you thought you had forgotten. Suddenly, you're not just remembering, you're reliving. The taste, the smell, the emotions, they rush back all at once. That's the power of memory. And if you can tie yourself to one of his memories, or even create the illusion of one, you plant yourself in the deepest layer of his emotions. Send him something like, "Good morning. I was thinking about that time we went to the park. It was such a special day. What if we did it again?" What happens here is twofold. You awaken the nostalgia of a moment already tied to joy, and you attach yourself to the possibility of reliving it. You aren't just reminding him of the past, you're suggesting a future. That dual pull of memory and anticipation is magnetic. And here's the secret. Even if you don't have shared memories yet, you can create imagined ones that feel just as real. Try this. This morning, I pictured myself walking on the beach at sunset, waves crashing, wind in my hair. And for some reason, you were there. Can you see how this works? Even if it never happened, the image itself sparks a visceral emotional reaction. You have placed yourself inside his inner world, giving him a story that feels lived, even though it exists only in the imagination. And the unconscious doesn't distinguish much between memory and fantasy. What he feels is what matters. Because in the end, relationships are not built only on what actually happens. They are built on what we feel. And if you become the woman who gives him memories, real or imagined, that stir something in his soul, you don't just enter his inbox. You enter his heart. Nostalgia may open the door to the past, but there's another form of magnetism that can take root in the present. Recognition. Every human being hungers to feel seen, not in a superficial way, but in the rarest and most intimate sense, to have their uniqueness noticed. The truth is, most compliments are empty. They echo the same words everyone else has already spoken. You're handsome. You're smart. You're amazing. And while they might feel nice for a second, they evaporate almost instantly because they lack weight. They lack soul. But when you offer a compliment that is specific, personal, and real, it becomes unforgettable. A genuine compliment is like a rare gift. It tells him that you've been paying attention, that you noticed something others overlook. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that every person craves recognition, yet so few ever receive it in a form that feels real. If you can be the one who delivers that kind of recognition, you stand out without even trying. Instead of a flat, "Good morning, handsome," imagine sending this, "Good morning. You know what I love about you? The way you can always find something funny, even in the most ordinary moments." It's contagious. Do you see the difference? You're not praising him in a vague or exaggerated way. You're shining a light on a small, authentic detail of who he is. And what happens when you do this is remarkable. You plant a seed in his mind. Every time he laughs, every time he makes someone smile, he will remember that you noticed it. You become woven into that very trait. This is why the best compliments are not about his looks or surface qualities. They're about essence. His passions, his quirks, his gestures, the way his eyes change when he talks about something he truly loves. When you say, "I noticed how serious your face gets when you're speaking about something that matters to you," it's powerful. You've touched something most people miss. And that makes you unforgettable. Because the woman who sees what no one else sees becomes the woman no one else can replace. Carl Jung often spoke of the deep unconscious desire we all carry, to be recognized not just for the mask we show, but for the hidden self beneath. And when you catch a glimpse of that hidden self and reflect it back to him, you are not just giving him words, you are giving him validation on the level of the soul. That is rare. That is magnetic. Now, recognition is powerful, but there is one final layer, one final key that may be stronger than them all: the ability to create anticipation. Anticipation is the heartbeat of desire. Think of the last time you were waiting for something special, a meeting, a trip, a moment. The waiting itself made it sweeter, didn't it? It wasn't the thing itself that consumed you. It was the countdown, the imagining, the wondering what it would feel like when the moment finally arrived. Anticipation transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. So imagine sending him this. Good morning. I'm planning a surprise for you, and I can't wait to see your face when you find out. Instantly, 3 things happen in his mind. First, curiosity spikes. He cannot stop himself from wondering what the surprise is. Second, you take up space in his day. Every time his thoughts wander, they circle back to you, to the mystery waiting to be revealed. And third, you hold control of the story, because only you know when, how, and what will be revealed. He is now caught in your rhythm, waiting for your next move. Here's the secret. The surprise doesn't even have to be big. It doesn't need to be expensive, elaborate, or dramatic. Desire doesn't live in the size of the gesture. It lives in the intention behind it. A song you know he loves. A photograph that ties back to a private joke. A coffee ordered the way he likes it. These small acts can feel monumental when wrapped in anticipation. It's never about grandeur. It's about meaning. And here's where most people fail. They rush. They reveal everything too soon. They rob the moment of its magic. But the woman who understands anticipation understands that restraint is not withholding. It's weaving. It's creating tension that makes the eventual reveal so much sweeter. Like the waiter who whispers, "We've prepared something special just for you, but you'll have to wait." You build an experience that lives in his imagination before it ever becomes real. Seneca once said that the things which come too easily are rarely valued. Jung echoed this truth when he taught that what is hidden, what is delayed, speaks most powerfully to the unconscious. And that is why anticipation matters. Because the man who is waiting for you is already thinking of you. He may not even realize it, but in his restlessness, in his wondering, you have already taken root in his mind. Now let's step back for a moment and see the bigger picture. What do all of these messages, the ones that stir curiosity, awaken imagination, touch the heart, revive nostalgia, give recognition, and build anticipation, have in common? They are not just words. They are experiences. They are invitations into an emotional landscape where he doesn't just read you, he feels you. And once a man begins to feel you, you stop being a message on his phone. You become a presence in his life. And this is the essence of true magnetism. It is not about being available at every moment. It is not about giving everything at once. It is not about chasing or proving your worth. It is about learning the art of creating space where his curiosity grows, his emotions awaken, his imagination builds, and his anticipation pulls him closer to you. This is the invisible thread that binds his attention to you, without you having to force or beg for it. Because at the end of the day, no man is captivated by formality. He is captivated by the woman who knows how to turn a simple "good morning" into something that feels like a secret, a memory, a dream, or a promise. That is the woman he carries with him, not because she asked to be remembered, but because she gave him something unforgettable to remember. Think about it for a moment. When he wakes up tomorrow morning, whose words will echo first in his mind? Will it be a bland, predictable greeting that dissolves before his coffee even cools? Or will it be something that stirs his chest, something he cannot ignore? This is where most people miss the truth. Love, attraction, and memory are not built on what is obvious. They are built on what lingers. And what lingers is what makes him feel. It's easy to underestimate the weight of a single message. But a single message can be the difference between being part of his background noise or being the first thought that paints his day. Words, when chosen with intention, act like seeds. Some die in barren soil. Others root themselves deep in the unconscious, quietly growing until they shape the way he sees you, even when you're not around. That's why you must never treat your words as casual. Casual fades, but meaningful words endure. And here's a truth that will shift how you see all of this. A man does not fall for you because of logic, because of a list of reasons, or because you fit into some ideal. He falls because of the way you make him experience himself when he's with you. Do your words awaken the boyish curiosity in him? Do they make him feel admired for who he is beneath the surface? Do they stir the dreamer, the adventurer, the protector, the lover inside of him? If they do, you've already stepped into a place no one else can reach. So let me ask you this. When you send that good morning, are you just filling space, or are you creating an experience? Are you reminding him that you exist, or are you giving him a reason to crave more of you? Because the difference is enormous. One will fade in seconds. The other will stay with him all day, replaying like a melody he cannot silence. And here lies the quiet power that few women ever learn. You do not need to say much. You do not need paragraphs of effort. You only need precision, intention, and a touch of soul. A single sentence, if it carries mystery, recognition, or anticipation, can do more than 100 empty words ever could. Think of it as poetry. A poem doesn't waste space. Every word is chosen. Every word is alive. That's how your messages should feel. Not heavy, not desperate, but alive. But I'll also tell you this. If your energy beneath the words is wrong, he will feel it. You cannot hide neediness beneath clever phrases. You cannot mask insecurity with playfulness. The soul behind your words always bleeds through. If your energy whispers, "I am waiting for you to choose me," he will feel it. But if your energy says, "I am already whole, and this is me inviting you into something beautiful," he will feel that too. And the latter is irresistible. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious shapes far more of our connections than the conscious ever does. And here is where the paradox lives. The less you try to force, the more naturally you slip into his unconscious. The less you explain, the more he imagines. The less you give away too soon, the more he leans forward, restless for more. Attraction is not about giving all of yourself at once. It is about allowing space for him to chase the pieces he cannot yet see. And so, the art of the good morning message is not about the morning at all. It is about presence. It is about learning how to slip into his world in ways he doesn't expect, in ways that feel like whispers rather than shouts. Sometimes it's a fragment of a dream. Sometimes it's an unfinished story. Sometimes it's the recognition of something he didn't even realize about himself. Sometimes it's the hint of a surprise waiting just beyond his reach. But always it is about leaving him with a feeling that doesn't fade when he puts down the phone. Because in the end, he won't remember the exact words. He won't catalog every line you wrote. What he will remember is how you made him feel. Intrigued, valued, curious, nostalgic, admired, or restless with anticipation. That is what ties him to you. That is what makes him look at his phone with a different kind of hunger. That is what sets you apart from every other message blinking in his inbox. And if you learn to master this, you'll realize something even deeper. It was never really about the messages themselves. It was always about the energy behind them. Words are only the vessel. The truth is, you are not just sending text. You are sending a piece of yourself. A woman who radiates depth, curiosity, warmth, and self-possession doesn't need to beg for space in his heart. She creates it naturally, without forcing, without chasing, without losing herself. So tomorrow morning, when you think about what to say, pause. Ask yourself, what do I want him to feel when he reads this? If the answer is nothing more than polite acknowledgement, then you already know it's not enough. But if the answer is curiosity, if it's warmth, if it's a spark of desire that lingers, then you are on the right path. And maybe this is the most important truth of all. When you begin to see your words not as obligations, but as symbols of the world you want to create with him, you stop sounding like everyone else. You stop blending into the noise. You stop being just another notification. You become the voice he leans toward, the presence that quietly reshapes the rhythm of his day. So remember this: no man can ignore the woman who learns to weave emotion, mystery, recognition, and anticipation into even the smallest of her words. No man can forget the feeling of being awakened at a level deeper than surface talk. And no man can resist the one who makes him feel alive before he's even opened his eyes. That is the true art of connection. That is the quiet magnetism that turns ordinary mornings into unforgettable beginnings. And that, my dear, is the reason why one simple message, crafted with soul, can make all the difference. And as we reach the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with one final truth. Connection isn't built on grand gestures, perfect timing, or flawless words. It is built in the small moments, the whispers, the pauses, the unfinished stories, the memories we choose to create, and the emotions we dare to awaken. If you've ever doubted the power of your presence, let this be your reminder. You hold more influence than you realize. A single message, a single sentence, can shift the course of someone's day, and sometimes their heart. So carry this with you. Never underestimate the weight of your words, and never forget the depth of your own worth. You are not here to beg for attention. You are here to embody it. You're not here to chase. You are here to be remembered. Thank you for sharing this moment with me, for allowing Heartsync X to speak into the quiet places of your soul. If these words have touched you, let them stay alive, not just on this screen, but in the way you live, love, and connect. And until we meet again, may you continue to write messages, not only with your hands, but with your heart.